Hey English students, happy Wednesday. I want to go ahead and just start off with this video today for I Know How the Caged Bird Sings. This is where I'm probably going to be at about this point in time, hopefully. Taking a trip all the way across Kenya from Maru, Kenya to Kisumu, Kenya in some vans. So I'm probably pretty tired at this point. And here's kind of what it looks like. Well, I was going to drop the little the street view guide, but I can't do it on this screen. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and this is where I want you us to focus right now. I just want to talk about yesterday's chapter. This is not a chance for you to go back and make changes, but I do want you to see how you did. So, kind of looking at chapter 8 specifically, explain why the Christmas presents from her parents affect Maya in a way contrary to what the reader would expect. So this is a good chance for us to talk about irony. And irony is the opposite of what is expected. We would expect that for most of us, if we receive a Christmas present, we're pretty happy. I don't know what you got for Christmas, but I'm always happy to receive a gift and also to give a gift. Well, for Maya, that's not what she feels. So it's kind of the opposite of that. So I put it's ironic. It's ironic that Maya is overwhelmed with sadness upon receiving gifts from her mother and father for Christmas. Instead of joy, Maya is filled with grief and abandonment as she sat down and cried. Until this point, it was more bearable for Maya to believe that she wasn't truly sent away and that her true mother must have been dead. Now, this is kind of a sad part. It's also sad for Bailey, too, because he's also crying. It's they're sit down to get these presents, right? And instead of it sparking joy, they actually it sparks like grief and sorrow because in Maya's words, it actually kind of reminds her of this whole problem that they've never really worked out with mom and dad, and why would they leave us, and why did they send us away, and why do we have little tags on our luggage, or I'm sorry, on our person when we went on the train. So it brings off all this stuff in her head, all these things that kind of been in the background for her and her brother. And so I went on and added a little bit more. We've been talking about how to extend some commentary. This terrible Christmas and its awful presents. I found this really, really ironic. Reminds her of the irreconcilable truth that her mother and father are in fact alive and able to carry on fulfilled apart from her. So her mom and dad are still around and they're still fulfilled. They're still happy. Or should we assume they're happy? They're sending her gifts. The words terrible and awful deepen the irony. Instead of being overwhelmed with joy, they're overwhelmed with confusion and grief. So, kind of a sad chapter, but one that she's really honest about, and something that she's going to have to work out throughout the book is how is she going to ever reconcile with her mother and her father. And that's a little bit of foreshadowing because later in the book we're going to see how she actually tries to overcome some of these challenges. And I want to be sensitive to this too, even though I'm not there in class, that if you live a normal human life, normal human life, you're going to have 5 crises, 5 things that you have to overcome. Did you know that? And for Maya, she just happens to be born into one. Chances are you and I have been born into some crises and some challenges that we never chose. Anyway, so I just want to throw that out there. But with chapters 9 and 10, here are some things that you are going to do with that. Of course, you're going to read chapter 9 and 10, and they're a little bit longer. So with chapter 9, some basic comprehension questions. For chapter 10, we are going to see that Maya is finally going to get to meet parents. Just a spoiler there. And we're going to see a major change in the text, going from Stamps, Arkansas to St. Louis, Missouri. So what you're going to do is fill in this chart, basically describing how that affects the tempo or the speed of the text. We're going to see that in Stamps, Arkansas, that Mama is the matriarch. And in St. Louis, Missouri, we changed grandmother, so it's Grandmother Baxter who she's with. And how does that affect the tempo? How does that affect the speed of the text? So Mama is very quiet and kind of an authority figure, and Grandmother Baxter's obvious and infamous. She's loud. We're going to see some other differences in the text. We're going to talk about some of these. You're going to try to fill these out, some of these boxes, and do your best. I'm going to go ahead and go over some of these on Thursday. I'm sorry, on Friday. And if you have questions, go ahead and ask the sub. But do your best. Just if you're not sure, go ahead and fill it. I'm not sure why, or I'm not sure what this is. And we'll take a look at that on Friday.